Howdy, everybody. I am here, and my buddy Vash guy from the OG55 crew might be joining me soon, hopefully soon. But yeah, right now we're gonna get started to see some people in the chat already. SoCal Imagine channel, excited for this live, hoping log in for my hot tub. I want to be in a hot tub. Sounds pretty nice right now. Oh, look at that! It's the original OG himself, the Mr. OG himself at spending time with the family right now, but he's still here, which is awesome. Let's see, let's see, hold on, trying to see where Mr. Dre is. And I'll in. But yeah, so that is cool. And we got Jose. Hello, Jose. Oh, OG, thanks for the $5. Continuing the tradition of we always like super chat each other on our live streams. Alright, so quickly before we get into the avatar, very interesting here. I'll try to show you here on my phone. So you guys know the Disney Parks Play app, right? That thing. They're supposed to use for Galaxy's Edge, and they have the experiences there. Well, today, like literally within the past 30 minutes, Universal did something similar. But just like Universal's Super Nintendo World app, it's in the Universal app, so you don't have to download anything else. Of course, there's a Super Nintendo World app right there, but if you go to any ride, let's just see Despicable Me, for example. If you scroll down, you'll see something called Universal Play. And it says play games when you tap it. And right now there's only Super Nintendo World, but this suggests that there'll be more interactive ideas. And like more ideas and more things, maybe interactive cues, right? Because it's under every single ride. It says all games right now, of course, it's just Nintendo World, but that's just maybe the Forbidden Journey or something. Like in the castle, maybe they'll add some interactive experiences. Very interesting, and you can use this app to play. It's very, very interesting. It says take a tour, and it says, hold on. It says play games, embark on quests, and complete challenges which enhance your in-park experience. And then it gives you, again, the power band example. But very interesting. I keep a watch on this because this suggests there'll be more of these coming to different rides or experiences, which is something that I didn't know. And it'll be pretty cool, especially if you can like use your wand or something, like a game within the Wizarding World. The next logical step in my guess would be to incorporate this with wands, right? So people have a wand, and then maybe there's some game in the Wizarding World that you can play that you can get via this app, which would be pretty cool. And then maybe they'll create other things for the minions or the pets, right? Very interesting stuff. So I'll be keeping a watch on that because this just literally popped up in the past 30 minutes. Very curious. Hogwarts Legacy. I wish I can get that on PC, but it seems to be only on PS5, and I have to buy one of those for that. But it looks fun. I definitely play the game. Let's see. So, boom. So, yesterday, Disney had their investor earnings call, right? They got going on there. And I was debating on how to do it. I was like, should I make a video, do a live stream, do both? And then I was like, let's do a live stream because I was like, I mainly for the avatar because I'm like, should I make a video? But I'm like, I don't know, not enough information yet. So let's do a live stream on it. So yes, one of the first things that Mr. Iger announced, besides all the business jargon of them beating their earnings per share, which was great. And parks making money. Most of them making money. Disney Plus lost subscribers, but Disney Plus actually gained subscribers. They gained subscribers here in the U.S. The only place they lost 2.4 million subscribers overall, but that's only because of Hotstar, which is kind of like a Disney Plus add-on or something in India, and that I guess that contract expired, and those people with Hotstar weren't paying the Disney Plus prices. It was very low. It was like $1 or two for that. So lost 2.4 million subscribers because that expired, but Disney Plus itself actually gained here in the domestically at least to like 130 million. So it was even with Disney Plus, it was a win. So that's good. I know you'll see a lot of headlines out there saying, "Oh my gosh, Disney Plus lost 2.4 million subscribers," but then they won't explain why. And that is actually not that big of a deal, which is why the stock shot up afterwards. It came back down a little bit, but it shot up to like 119 or something after that, which is cool. Zootopia 2 is coming out Frozen 3, and Toy Story 5. Duke Kaboom needs to make a return in Toy Story 5, in my opinion. I loved Duke Kaboom, from voiced by, what's his name? Oh gosh. John Wick. Keanu Reeves, there you go. Voiced by Keanu Reeves, made his debut in Toy Story 4, and I loved him. He's like my favorite character of that movie. Forky, of course, will probably make a return. Tony Hale's fantastic. But Duke Kaboom definitely needs to make a return in Toy Story 5, or else I won't watch it. Just kidding, I'll watch it. But it'll make it 10 times better immediately. And he should have a bigger role, in my opinion. Because, my goodness, we can say goodbye to Woody and Buzz and the crew for, like, the third time. This is I made a tweet saying that whatchamacallit, the Toy Story is becoming like the Main Street Electrical Parade, or it just keeps glowing away every couple of years, but coming back. That's Toy Story. Go away for a few years. We'll say goodbye. It'll be so sad. And then like, all right, Toy Story 6, 7 through 10, and then we'll be back. So, kind of makes those goodbyes less impactful. But I do love me some Toy Story. And Tim Allen is returning to voice Buzz, because this is not the real Buzz Lightyear. This is the toy Buzz Lightyear. So Tim Allen's back. And then Zootopia 2 is fantastic. I really like Zootopia. Made $1 billion, and I just really like that whole franchise. The whole movie was fantastic. One of my favorite animated movies ever. I really like that one. So I'm super excited for Zootopia 2. And Frozen 3. I liked Frozen 2 better than Frozen 1. And I'm excited for Frozen 3 because, because they all made a. Oh, by the way, all those movies made $1 billion, so it's no surprise they're getting another one. But look, here is Vash, Sky, Dr. Dre, or really Mickey and Walt, as we see in our profile picture here. How are you this fine?
Doing pretty good. Give me a second. I'm getting everything together here. I do apologize, Ethan. I'm not as prepared as I usually am.
Oh no, we're just talking about. I don't know if you saw, but Universal added something to their app that's basically the Disney Parks Play app, but it's just on the Universal app, so you don't have to download anything. And right now they just have Super Nintendo World on there, but it's under every ride and attraction. It says all games, and it seems like it's going to be for multiple experiences. So I'm saying, man, next they should have like a wand game or something, and for Harry Potter, because it seems like they're going to add this to every single ride, some type of interactivity thing, whether in the line or the land. And then that just happened like 10 minutes before I popped up on here, so I was like, oops. And then we are just talking about, let's see, how the sequels, how they all earned $1 billion. All their predecessors earned $1 billion, so no surprise about the sequels. And how I was very excited for Zootopia too, because I like Zootopia. And how Toy Story, it was basically like the Main Street Electoral Parade, because we keep saying goodbye, but they keeps coming back. and then Frozen 3, how that was basically a gimme because come on, trilogies, you got to complete the trilogy. And then you showed up, Dr. Dre. You showed up.
Okay. And we're not getting feedback or anything from me. You can hear me all right?
Oh yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Good, good, good.
Now can you see
Um,
me?
yes, I can see you. I can
So,
see you.
so yeah, see this is what I show. So see, here's the universe,
I see.
and then under any just taking Despicable Me, you go down, and then see it says Universal Play, literally almost called what the Disney one's called, just like shorter. Then you just click it, and then you get to this menu screen. Right now, it's just Nintendo World, but it looks as all games, and there's just one. So it indicates to me that there'll be more for different rides and attractions, some type or different lands, some type of interactive games coming in the future, which seems pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be integrating their uh, interactive assets, let's say, into one kind of uh, what would you want to call it, like play app, so that
Yeah.
way you can sync all your experiences, have them go in one place. So I could see them expanding Harry Potter to include digital trackable interactivity services or whatever, integrating those into the app. It should be very exciting, Ethan. Very exciting.
And see, girl power coasters. Yeah, yeah. Everyone, or not everyone, but if you have the Universal app, then you have those that experience. You just have to click on the ride. It's something new, so you'll see it next time you're on that. But yeah, anyone who has that app should see it. And then boom. Let's see. Oh, did OG leave? OG may have left. Uh, have I seen Avatar 2? I have seen Avatar 2, and I'm doing fantastic. But and then yeah, so if you want to listen to all the business jargon of the earnings call, be sure to check out OG and Vashkai himself on their mega live stream. That was an hour and 45, or not live stream, but video. That was an hour and 45 minutes, and you can find all the legal jargon and business talk over there, and I'll link it down below. Because I'm sure you guys got very detailed in that video, didn't you, Vash?
We didn't break down the numbers hardcore. It was mostly about the comments that were made, extrapolating from that. But we do provide a pretty, as I would say, robust analysis when it comes to the earnings report.
Yeah, so definitely check them out because I can't beat them in that category. They got it covered. The best on YouTube, even better than Bob Iger himself. So,
Well, given that Bob Iger isn't on YouTube, that's an easy qualifier there. I like that. But you were, I think, the big topic of the whole earnings call itself, and definitely one that's being debated today, would happen to be around this kind of avatar experience, correct?
yes, the Avatar experience. Boy, oh boy. Everyone has a thought, everyone has a uh, consideration, and everyone has a no, it's impossible to do this and that about it. Boy, let's see. So there's the Avatar experience that that's in currently something literally called the Avatar experience in Shanghai with a cool animatronic that's moving around. Ends on March 31st. Some people are
Wasn't
like, bring that here, and then there's
technically that was in Singapore, actually, correct?
Singapore. Yeah, that's the one. See, all these S's,
Okay.
Don't worry, guys. I do not think they're the same one country. Just a lot of S's. But yeah, Singapore.
It is a lot to keep track of. Don't worry, Ethan. I just want to go ahead and clarify for our viewers.
Yeah, definitely Singapore. Singapore is beautiful. But that ends, I think, March 31st, right? With a cool Banshee animatronic, or whatever the native name is. And then some people are like, yeah, just pack it up and ship it over here. You don't have to spend money on R&D or anything. Then some people are like, it's just going to be a film in the Path of the Jedi theater. Some people say it's going to be a Downton Disney pop-up shop. Some people said a land. Some people said there's no room for a land. That one's funny.
Yeah, well, I'll
Every
get to all of these in a second, but go ahead.
yeah, every time someone says there's no room for some, I immediately think of OG's face. We need like a gosh. I should take it next time. I catch one of your videos. I'm just take a screenshot of his face when someone says that. I'm just gonna plaster it. That'll be like a new meme. OG, if you're on here, if you're listening afterwards, I'm making a meme of you when someone says there's no space for something. And it's funny because even big guys. I mean, Dave from Fresh Bake said there's no room. Then he admitted unless you take out something. Then a lot of people on Twitter, there's no room. There's no room. There's no room. Again, how many times are people gonna fall for the "it's no room" thing at Disneyland? They keep getting proven wrong every time, Dr. Dre. Every time.
It is quite amusing to hear about the arguments that there is no room at Disneyland. There is always room at Disneyland. Just to let everybody know, the question is well, at this point, what are you going to lose? Because you are, frankly, going to have to lose or replace something if you were to install anything of substantial size. And let's get out the simple things out of the way first. I've heard meet and greet. I've heard Path of Jedi film. I've heard all this kind of stuff. We've heard it before, even. So I want to go ahead and just attack those just right from jump. Bob Iger would be unlikely, let's say, for him to tout an avatar experience to shareholders, institutional investors, and so forth on an earnings call, no less, if it happened to be of small size or scale. Okay, anything touted on an earnings call to investors like that, who are all, I mean, their main concern is big capital investments. This would be a sizable experience to be added to the Disneyland Resort. I'll just say that. And if you have the CEO of the company discussing the prospect of adding Avatar to Disneyland with the chairman of Parks and Resorts and Experiences, that's not a film. Okay, that's not some marketing tie, and that's not some. It's not some meet and greet. Okay, those are way above their pay grades. Let's say
not from Parks blog post or Ken Potrock saying, this is a big thing. I believe, if you correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Star Wars like Zedge mentioned in the earnings call, like before the concept art and if anything?
I actually don't know. I would have to look back on my history on that. The rumors of a sizable Star Wars land to be added to the parks, that was pretty well known for quite a while before it actually was officially announced at the D23 Expo. I believe in I want to say the 2015 D23 Expo.
Yeah.
Wizard, is that correct?
Yeah, 2015.
Okay, so it was well known. I don't know if it was necessarily mentioned in earnings report, but I would have no doubt that there would have been rumblings, at least towards the investment community and towards shareholders and so forth. A big capital expenditure like that, even development would have cost millions of dollars. So I don't doubt that they would have likely known about its presence, its progress, etc.
Yeah, because I'm trying to look it up, but those again. You're right. If the CEO's announcing it's got to be huge or substantial.
It does, and if it was just a transportation of the Singapore experience, for example, right, a transfer of those assets and carve out a space in Disneyland and set them up there, well, then that would have either been mentioned by Bob Iger himself and or a Disney Parks blog announcement could have been drafted with some haste and posted and so forth, detailing those things. The fact that and let's remember too that Bob Iger mentioned this in the same breath that he was mentioning the Pandora expansion at Disney's Animal Kingdom, right? He mentions this and then he says, later on, yeah, we'd like to, we're going to be bringing Avatar experience to Disneyland, you don't necessarily mention them that closely. The delta is extreme, right?
And
Um,
then he went further and he said a version of a Avatar, Pandora, or something like that as well. Correct.
yes, a version,
Yeah.
and the way he, you know, made it sound, and the verbiage that he used, it sounds like it's going to be distinct from the Pandora experience that we already enjoy at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Mhm.
So, and to be fair, that's what I've been hearing internally as well. That James Cameron is interested in not only expanding Pandora but basing it around his new films. So if he were to be involved in a Avatar like expansion or experience at Disneyland, it would most likely be something different that would distinguish itself from the Pandora experience at Walt Disney World. And again, if you go that direction, well, then you could adapt whatever you build for Disneyland to Walt Disney World as well. So there's some interplay there.
Yeah. Now, I think we're all thinking the land people are thinking the obvious area, right? The motorboat cruise, Autopia, that whole massive chunk. That would be obviously the most obvious spot to put
Yes.
something of that size. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Oh, go ahead, Ethan.
well, and I was gonna say, hey, I love the Way of Water, but I'm curious about your opinion on this. Of course, they did start off the film in the rainforest, but I'd say if you were going to any new parts, I just can't think of any substantial structure or what they call it weenie, right? To like the floating mountains, that's like boom iconic, right? But in Way of
Yes.
Water, I can't think of any iconic structure like you would put as a grand entrance. So that's why I'm hoping, even if they do a distinct one, we still get if they do a land, a version of the floating mountains, even if it's just like half water, half rainforest, because I just can't think of another iconic structure, at least in the Way of Water. But do you notice, and did you notice any iconic structure that you're like, wow, this can be right in a theme park when you're watching the movie?
Yes. As the distinctive biome and Way of Water is really the water itself.
Yeah.
So it's I will agree with you. What we saw in Way of Water doesn't necessarily lend itself towards an iconic structure that is tangible, that is worth recreating. Let's say I think the mountains are so iconic that I would imagine that iconography be reused in some way. Now, if you wanted to integrate more water with it, I believe you can. But let's not limit ourselves to Way of Water either. James Cameron has been very open about the idea of integrating future stories into the parks themselves. So
And yeah,
you
number
could go
three
off of that
has
as
the
well.
volcano. I know that, so that could work. But
Volcano is a very attractive thing, which, by the way, has been proposed in prior projects for that area. Actually, going all the way back to Atlantis. If you were to Google search Disneyland Atlantis submarine voyage, something along those lines, it'll actually come up on Google search results. And if you go to images, you'll see some of what they had proposed back then, and it included the volcano aspect to it and all kinds of stuff. When you're looking at that area north of Tomorrowland and the Autopia area, motorboat cruise area, and so forth, the monorail would be retained no matter what. And it would most likely be rerouted. We have to remember that the spaghetti bowl that exists up there, that has been eyed by Walt Disney Imagineers for decades now, to be streamlined and to have a more straightforward path than currently exists right now. They view the monorail as transportation. And back when it was created, well, it was really an attraction, and that's where that spaghetti bowl comes from in terms of track. That dates all the way back to 1959. But ever since the Disneyland Hotel stop was added, it's always been viewed as transportation. So why not go in that direction? That would have to be rerouted. But outside of that, if you were to get rid of the Autopia load station, Autopia tracks themselves, and the submarine voyage, you roughly have enough room, just barely, to put all of Pandora as it exists today at Walt Disney World into that spot there. And that's with little modification required.
See that that's pretty nice. Uh and Sean over here asks us a question. He says, "Do you think Disneyland is getting Avatar: Way of Water as a way to compete with Universal Nintendo World?" Uh, Now, for that one, I'm going to say no. Avatar, we're getting Avatar because it's a, ooh, yeah, it somehow got $2 billion films. I still don't know how that's possible, but they did it, and
Yes.
they're widely successful. So they want to capitalize on that success, and definitely not to compete with Nintendo World because even if it started construction right now, it wouldn't open
Yes.
for like quite a few years. So, no, not but maybe this will be Disneyland's answer to the Olympics. Maybe we can get open by 2028. Have a
That's a
big
po-
shiny new thing.
that's a distinct possibility. When the original, let's say, announcement was made that James Cameron was teaming up with Disney to bring the world of Pandora to the Disney parks, that was back in 2011, and if I'm not mistaken, Ethan, if you could look this up, maybe
Let's see.
Pandora, the world of Avatar, doesn't open until 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
2017.
20 okay, so 2017 is that's
Yeah.
okay. So that was that's a good 6 years from the inception, the pronouncement of that idea to
Mhm.
opening. I would
And see,
think we would be working on
announcement to opening would be about 5 years for the Olympics.
yeah. I would think that the timeline wouldn't be too dissimilar if we're talking about an experience on that same scale.
Mhm.
That's kind of what we're looking at. So I don't think this is a direct competitive response to Super Nintendo World. I think this more has to do with Iger, I think, wanting to. I mean, when you really think about it, he has been criticized tremendously about the 21st Century Fox acquisition, right?
Mhm.
What better way to solidify his legacy in regards to that than by having the benefits of that acquisition reap in such a way that is tangible? And I think that's part of the reason why they're investing in Avatar right now. Obviously, it's a hot franchise. It has several films coming out, multi-billion-dollar gangbuster films. At least that's the expectation going forward. It all kind of it fits many holes right now, and that's why they're going in the Avatar direction more than competitive reasons or anything other like.
Yeah, and ooh, kind of a thought I had just now. If it, let's say it's some sort of land. Let's say, I don't know. Okay, let's say it just goes in the spot up, not Autopia, but like above the lagoon. Like let's say the lagoon kind of plays into. So let's say they keep the lagoon, and that kind of like a frame for they build the actual land above that. I don't know. Would this be some sort? What can they do a light refresh on Tomorrowland within the same project budget? I only ask because they recently repainted the the People Mover track and stuff, and they still have the concept art up there for the old entrance. I don't know. Do you think they tried to use the same budget, like a mega budget, and kind of do like a little Tomorrowland refresh, but then put Pandora on the north end there, so it's kind of like a double project type of ordeal.
Um, Disney projects and their budgets are tricky, but I would assume that if the northern end of the North Tomorrowland site, let's say, was chosen, that the surrounding area, and that includes Tomorrowland, would be refreshed in order to let's say, put on the best showing for
Yeah, because people are
an
gonna
Avatar
walk right
expansion.
through it. Yeah.
You would, yeah, you would walk right through it, and we've seen this before. I mean, look at Toontown and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, right?
Mhm,
All of Toontown is being refreshed as part of the
mhm.
opening of that attraction. I would expect something not too dissimilar with Tomorrowland. However, budgets are they're kind of weird and wonky, but I would expect it. Yes.
And
The thing also too, and I don't know if anybody's thought of this, but you could still integrate attractions like the submarine voyage into an Avatar expansion if you were to utilize the motorboat cruise area. Um, and I mean, you have Way of Water, right, where a lot of it's under the sea and a lot of it's exploring the ocean of Pandora. Well, what better way to do that than in a submarine? um, at the front of the land, right? And you
yeah,
could
see,
reutilize the lagoon and so forth. There are a plethora of ideas to be had here if you go in another direction regarding Pandora.
yeah, I'm imagining keeping the lagoon and the subs, right, and then right where the subs go and there's show building. Right there's the floating mountains, and that's like the proper entrance if you're walking to the land. Like because they build attractions on top of building or on top of attractions all the time. So it wouldn't be impossible to kind of integrate the two. And actually, it would be a nice transition from Tomorrowland to Pandora if they kept the lagoon, even just the subs the way they are, but just because it's water and then you have the mountains right there and the subs, like it would be a cool little transition, a seamless transition. I'd feel like into a new Pandora. Now, question, because obviously the movie, they have a lot of movies coming out. Can the movies budget like I don't know, I guess the production, but some portion of the budget be utilized for this new experience? You know how they use like some of the with the marketing budgets for the Marvel movies to put the characters in the land. Do you think
Yeah.
something similar can be used here to kind of, I guess, quote unquote, save money or just kind of pull money from different places? So you're not like we're not using all, let's say, the parks capex on this, but like using some of the movie budget and then some of the park budget to still make a high quality, good land, but also have a lot of money left over.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just that would be a very unusual move to use a portion of a production budget allotted to a film. And I can guarantee you James Cameron wouldn't allow that for an experience like this, especially at the size and scale that this would be. I mean, you would require hundreds of millions of dollars. I just don't see a production budget being used for that. I do see a marketing budget being used for the creation of maybe a film to be in Path of the Jedi to set people up for Avatar in Disneyland, right? Or promotional items being added, let's say, to the if this doesn't actually get used as part of the project for the Interventions building, maybe a stage
Mm-hmm.
show, those kinds of things. I can see finding a home at Disneyland and originating in and around the Avatar films in a kind of financial way. I can see that, but this would be such a huge capital expenditure. There's just really no way.
And I don't know if you saw that. I think I posted in the group chat, but my idea, right? My idea. So it's not like it's a direct clone because I know a lot of people saying don't make it a direct clone, but
Sure.
to have a roller coaster go through those environments, those cool environments, it would be the Tron Light Cycle coaster system, right? But just the light cycles would be themed to, Avatar motorcycles or something, and have it dashing through the mountains and those wonderful waterfalls. Oh, that would be gorgeous. It would fulfill the people's wanting Tron to come here, theming it to Avatar, and they'd be going through a beautiful landscape, and it would be better than Tron, most likely. What do you think? What do you think, Dr. Dre?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you could theme them to banshees or banshee type
Mhm.
um, stand-ins, right? For a
Mhm.
kind of experience like that. Not out of the realm of possibility. Not out of the realm of possibility at all. But you also have, stuff like as we were mentioning before, the fire Navi and being introduced into the
Mhm.
Avatar universe, right? I think the flight of passage ride system, even if you don't replicate it, let's say entirely from um, Pandora as it exists at Disney's Animal Kingdom, I think that James Cameron has insinuated that that ride system is very, very versatile, and
Mhm.
you could adapt it for any number of experiences, including the under the sea portions found within Way of Water. Uh, at this point, anything I think is possible. And Ethan, if it's a roller coaster, which by the way, as we were talking to our mutual source now, do trust me, bro.
Trust
I
me,
guess Tron,
broski.
yeah, I guess Tron was at first considered for Disneyland
Mhm.
initially at Jump until it was adapted for Walt Disney World. But I had heard for many years that two of those coasters were ordered,
Mhm.
and with an eventual implementation at the Disneyland Resort, this could be an outlet for that. So it's possible.
And the real question is, boy, oh boy, Avatar just comes sneaking in here. But what does that do for, because, they announced that, the capex will drop by 700 million. I still wonder where that $6.7 billion went, because I don't see it. But um,
That might have been the $6 billion that we talked about on the show. That might have been the annual budget for the entire division. Not too dissimilar to what we're getting now.
yeah, it's still annual, but like, where does that go? I like, you can't possibly use $6 billion to maintain. I guess they're still constructing the Disney World stuff, and I guess maybe if
Right.
you spread it out.
So you have Tron construction, you have Epcot construction, you had Toontown, you had a number of projects going on Disney Resort as well.
So
And
now that
then
those
that's
are
for the
wrapped.
entire division, so that's includes international as well.
Oh yeah, true, true. I was gonna say, now that those are wrapping up, where is it? But then I was like, international's not wrapped. Oh, I guess international's kind of wrapping up. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I wonder if we'll see new things. But real question is, boy, we have a poor Tomorrowland that can't catch a break. It seemed like it was going somewhere, when then COVID hit, right? And then you have the Avengers E-ticket, which also can't seem to catch a break. Goes through different iterations, and of course, poor Chadwick Boseman passed away, so can't really do it around Wakanda anymore. Man, the poor thing keeps changing, and then Avatar just slips. It seems like it just slipped right in front of them on the to-do list at the resort.
Right.
So how delayed are these things? You see, when are we seeing the Avengers E ticket? Do you think? Because I remember asking, I'll never forget. Uh, do trust me, bro. And he didn't give me any answer. he didn't give me like
Yeah. So
he didn't give me like a
I
decade.
want to protect.
Yeah.
I want to protect. Do trust me, bro. There are details surrounding this that I'm going to leave vague just to protect identities here. But from what I am hearing from various sources, Bob Iger is right now reevaluating all projects, whether they've been announced, whether they're in active development, whether they're even being worked on right now, whether they're being considered, whatever.
And he
He's
said that
looking at
was going to be done in the spring, right? Sometime in the
yes,
spring.
roughly in the spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, an exact and a more precise date was given, but again,
Yeah.
we want to be vague just to protect
Springtime.
everybody. Um,
We'll just
in
say
this,
springtime.
yeah, those decisions will likely be made in the spring, and I think we'll have a much better idea of what's actually coming and what timelines we're looking at roughly for those projects around that time. But for I mean,
Definitely say, it seems safe to say though that Avatar definitely took the top spot out
Yes.
of anything else. Yeah, at least at the Disneyland Resort, you know.
And yeah, and
It
that's
got
that's for a
announced.
reason, right? So again, I was talking about the 21st Century Fox acquisition, how Bob
Mhm.
Iger has been criticized for that. It fits
Mhm.
that hole, but also too, you have a very hot property, very hot franchise, and it's definitely on the upswing right now. These are all reasons as to why Avatar is moving to the top slot. But when it comes to Tomorrowland, I mean, it was on the table. It was being worked on. There was a plan. It was
Mhm.
going to be transformed, and then, as you said, the pandemic hit, and that kind of
Ah,
put the kibosh on those
COVID.
plans. Yeah,
Dang it,
and
COVID. Oh, killed it. Everything. Mm.
and that's not to say that it's not eventually coming. It is. It has to
Oh,
be
it's
done. It's just,
definitely coming.
where do you spend your capex dollars at this point? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, where's the wise investment? To be honest, Avatar is the wisest investment, I think, as of right
And it's
now, outside of Marvel.
yeah, and you know, like it definitely helps that Avatar's gorgeous properties. So that's I'm excited for that. It's not like some concrete jungles. Avatar's all about nature and
Right.
and I think it'll actually look great. Whatever happens, if something happens in there, I think it'll look great next to the Matterhorn. Like
Yeah.
that's two like naturey properties right next to each other with them. If they keep the lagoon right, the lagoon in the middle, wow, that would be like a national park over there. It'd be gorgeous,
Oh yes, and
especially
James
if you take
Cameron
away
doesn't do
those,
anything half measure
you know.
either.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, look how long it took him to make this sequel, and it blew everyone away. Oh, I couldn't believe that. Wow, I remember when I thought that movie wouldn't make it to 1 billion, and then it doubled my thoughts, and still climbing as we speak.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know how
mean
that guy does it, but
it's what is it? I haven't looked at the recent numbers right now, but I mean, if it stays on its current trajectory, I mean, what are we talking? 2.3, 2.4? Topping out at completely. That's an
mhm.
astounding achievement for a film. Like you said, Ethan, I had my doubts whether it was even going to break 1 billion. Well, now we're talking as it being in the top four of all time. That's a pretty great achievement. I don't know what James Cameron did. I don't know what deal he did with the devil, but he does it again.
Looks like it's at 2.18 right now. So it should be at 2.2 by this weekend, I think, or something very close to that. Um, but yeah, he would have both Avatar movies and Titanic in the top four, with only Avengers Endgame being the non James Cameron movie in there. That's incredible. What? No, no
It's
director has ever
absolutely
done that.
stunning.
Like, what the heck? That's crazy. He's like the best director ever. Most commercial one. I mean, my goodness, like what? That's insane. It actually shocked me. And it actually shocked me that I actually liked this Avatar movie, and I think I'll remember it way more than I will the first one. So
Yeah.
good job, them, Cameron. That's incredible. Um, but yeah, so definitely. So we're thinking a ride, at least a ride. Definitely not a walkthrough, but I'd say at least a
No,
ride.
definitely. I'd say a ride is, and I would
Yeah,
put that probably the highest. Now the trend in the industry is to build a land with that. I would say that it's also very high, but um, I would say a Pandora clone less so, and then everything else I would put fairly low. Simply because it's Bob Iger, and he's saying this in the same breath that he was saying this for the Pandora project and Disney Animal Kingdom. He talked about how when they added that experience there, right? How it transformed that park and how it expanded capacity and how it brought new demand. He's not
yes,
saying those things and mentioning Disneyland's experience if it's going to be anything less. So
yes. Because if there's any park that needs attendance boost and transformation, it's Disneyland Park. Because that park is just struggling.
yeah, it really
So
is.
where's the one? Just man can barely. You really need something to change that park around, and that's not popular at all. And what are we gonna do, Doctor Dre? It's
Oh,
the weakest Disney park by far.
it's a small little park that could, hopefully, Mickey and Minnie's Railway helps turn things around. It really has been struggling lately. It's only in like the top three of in the entire world of theme parks in
Yeah,
attendance. So,
goodness, just so
hopefully
low.
it can really make it through this.
Meanwhile, the park that's literally down next to it, and they could use a nice little boost, gets shafted on its birthday. Oh, I was like,
Well,
come on. California Adventure can't. They didn't even mention California Adventure's birthday, and then they got shafted on its own birthday. Happy
well,
birthday, Cali Adventure. You get Avatar is going to your sister park.
to be fair, the major additions to be added to Disney California Adventure in the future, they're contingent on a large part Disneyland Forward. But we also know we're getting some type of Avengers experience there as well. So, and we know it's getting
Oh, boy,
Hercules and
wait
so
a
forth.
minute.
So it's in there. It's just not as sexy or as exciting as an Avatar experience, but it
Is
is
that the
getting
new?
additions.
Is that the new term, Dre? Experience. We went from inspired, went from ride land to attraction to inspired by to experience.
Best to keep it vague
Oh
right
man.
now. Best to keep it vague. We don't
Experience.
know what's
Oh
going
man, I
on with
hope
some of
they
these
don't
things.
call it. And then now we said we'll hear more very soon. I was watching your OG took a clip of your mega video, made the shorter video. Saw that one, and he said, "You guys were thinking when was very soon." George said, "Destination D." Someone said, OG said the April 3rd earnings call. I don't know. I think it actually might be even sooner, only because
Really?
he's very soon. And I must say, the last time a Disney person said very soon, well, it was next week with the Hulk thing, but it was very soon. So
True.
I feel like it'll be sooner than the shareholder. Maybe, and even if it's like nothing like big, maybe like a couple sentences, maybe more details at the shareholders thing. But I feel like we'll have some sort of tease or something before that, only because he said very soon, and I feel like very soon is only just a few weeks away. For some reason, I have an inkling. I have an inkling. When do you think very soon is, Dr. Dre?
I don't know if we're talking weeks. I mean, that's pretty ambitious. I was thinking maybe shareholders meeting. Destination D seems a little far. It seems a little
Yeah,
too
that's what
long there.
I think end of the year. By the way, April 3rd is the shareholder meeting for everyone on the chat, which is
Yeah,
why very soon. It's less than 2 months away, so it is pretty soon.
right. And but to your point, Ethan, I mean, you can commission a very rough sketch of concept artwork and
Mhm.
draft a Disney Parks blog update pretty quickly, and we just have to keep. What I think people what they should be doing is looking at Josh Giammaro's upcoming schedule and seeing anywhere where he would make an appearance in which he would tout a project like that. I thought wasn't something coming up involving his attendance? Wasn't he giving some kind of speech or
Hmm.
symposium somewhere
I'm not
in the upcoming days?
sure. I'm not sure, but it could be because I feel like he's always on the move. That one, he probably is. We'll have to do some more research on that one. But
If
you
there's
know,
any venue, I mean, the Toontown thing came out of nowhere, and that was at, I think, wasn't that an IAPA convention or something?
well, it was an official announcement was an IAPA convention. But then remember he made like an Instagram post with like a blueprint and a map before that, like a
Right.
little tease.
And that was for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Yeah, oh yeah, for Mickey Minis, yeah. And then I see, and even something like that, when he says very soon for the Avatar, I don't know, some just little tease like that. I think it's coming. And I think it's coming real soon.
Yeah.
Real.
Keep track of his schedule. If he makes any appearances anywhere, believe me, he's going to want to tout something. I don't think Epcot's going to move the needle, but Avatar Disneyland will definitely get people excited and get people watching. So I would say to everybody, look out for that. Look out for any potential venues. I think they're going to want to they're going to want to bring this stuff out with an audience.
Yeah, yeah. Well, very exciting stuff. And quickly, what whatchamacallit, which of the three sequels are you most excited for of the movies?
So we have what? Toy Story, Frozen, and Zootopia, right?
Yes.
Which, by the way, I mean, pretty not the worst idea in the world to go with sequels at this moment in time right now. I mean, I have been very highly critical of the creative output of the studio division right for going
look at,
on.
look at Strange World.
Yeah, look at Strange World, look at Lightyear. It's just we're not talking about hits here. We're talking it's been a creative struggle right now.
It sounds like a back to the basics approach. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. But again, I don't think the problem at the studio division is necessarily with the budgets. I know Bob Iger was talking about reining those in a bit, and quality over over just a deluge of content and so forth. I think the big problem at the studio division right now is really the creatives. I don't think the creatives right now, especially with people like Lasseter gone and dragging so much talent with him, I just don't think the creative output is there, frankly. We'll see what they can do with these established brands and franchises and so forth. It's a smart move. It's just I don't know if this is necessarily going to be the solution, especially long term. But as far as the ones that have been announced, as far as the ones that are exciting, probably Frozen 3, to be honest with you.
Frozen 3, I'm excited for that one too. That's my second most anticipated one. Very excited for Frozen 2.
I actually really do dig those characters a lot. I like that world that they're actually in. And even though the second one didn't necessarily live up to the hype of the first one, it still featured great songs in my opinion. And
still
it was
made
an interesting
over $1 billion.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I know it was a successful film. It's just it doesn't have necessarily the frost laden magic of the first one, but
yeah, and didn't have a Let It Go. That's for sure.
It didn't have a Let It Go. Yeah, that's for sure. Zootopia it definitely piques my interest. I think that's an incredible world with so much creative potential. That could be a really, really fun romp there. I have reservations about it in a couple of instances, and that's why I keep it at number 2, and probably number 3 is probably Toy Story 5. But I do agree with many folks who say that the trilogy was perfect and that it probably should have stayed there. I do concur.
It's like the Main Street Light Show parade. We're gonna keep saying goodbye every few years. And
yeah, exactly. Is this gonna be the last outing for the toys? And
then the only thing with that is, they're gonna have to find a way to make it progressively sadder.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll never forget when they're about to get crushed in that machine in Toy Story 3. I'm like, oh, we better make it out of there.
Yeah, exactly. They all held hands, and it was a tense moment for a bit. Yeah, for sure.
I was like, they're gonna get out of this one, or are they gonna get crushed and die? Who knows? But and then whatchamacallit? Yeah, Zootopia 2. I'm sure that will get a Zootopia 3. But and again, there's so many. All the Disney Plus sequels, they're still going, all right? Like the Moana one and the Tiana one, and that's still on schedule. Or is Iger taking a look at those?
There might be some projects associated with that. I mean, I would. I mean, maybe that's part of the reevaluation process, to be honest with you. But I would think Tiana is still going forward. I mean, there's a lot of momentum right now within the company to bring as much Tiana. I don't know. Projects as possible out. So I would think that's still on the docket. Moana. I mean, I'll say this: when Bob Iger touted that many of their films made the top 15 in the Nielsen ratings for Disney Plus, in my mind, he was looking at as almost a roadmap for where do we go from here, right?
Moana does very well on Disney Plus as well.
Very well, very well. It does well every single month. So I would expect something from that franchise, but it is interesting that Moana 2 wasn't officially announced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, very interesting, very interesting. But yeah, so and that kind of wraps up the fun part of the earnings call. Like I said, the business part. Go check out OG and Vash Guy on his channel for an hour and 42 minutes of business and fun.
Yeah, and we make it fun, guys. Don't worry. It's not just dry numbers the entire time. We do elaborate on many of the comments actually made. Highly recommend you go over there, but only after this video, though.
Only after this live stream. Yeah, they have some funny commentary of their own, and gotta check out Dre's soundboard over there, especially when he gets into some robust discussions. And also, before we leave, I'll put a link in here. If you guys want a chance to win tickets, that's right, 2 tickets to Super Nintendo World. Oh boy, did he just say win tickets to Super Nintendo World? Yes, he did. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to click this link, take this survey. It's a very impactful channel survey. You can win 2 tickets to Super Nintendo World or a Super Nintendo World merchandise package. Oh boy, how exciting does that sound, Dr. Dre? How exciting.
Yeah, it's incredibly exciting, Ethan. This is a fantastic thing that you're doing. I think this is so cool, so awesome. I know we corresponded about this. I'm very, very excited for the viewers. This is absolutely fantastic.
And in 10 seconds, once I find how to, okay, there we go. Boop. There you go. Put it in the chat here. You can go ahead and click it, take it. We have 31 responses, so you better fill it up because only one person can win. And you have until Sunday at 11:59, so you can watch the Super Bowl and then do it afterwards, or do it during the commercials, and then you can win a chance to have the greatest experience of your life. And if you decide to do it on February 24th, you just might see us there. Isn't that right, Dr. Dre?
That's true. 24th. We will be at Universal Studios Hollywood to experience all that Super Nintendo World has to offer. Cannot wait. Super excited.
He's super, you get it? And that's it. But please, go follow Dr. Dre, Vash Guy at OG55, where you can get news squeezed fresh from the Grove and freshly squeezed and sticky information. Gosh, I heard that so many times you'd have thought I remembered it by now, but I got the gist of it. And then, so OG55, Orange Grove 55, they have videos every single day, and if they don't, you can sue them. Just kidding, don't do that. And subscribe, subscribe, and share this video and share that survey to your friends who may want to go to Super Nintendo World, or at least get some merch from there. And helpful feedback. Have a great Thursday night, everybody. Thanks for staying up late. 10 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Arizona time with me, and have a fantastic Avatar-y day. You get it? Avatar-y.